Welcome to the deep dive. Have you ever just felt that little pull, that sense deep down that there's maybe a different version of your life out there, one that feels, I don't know, more fulfilling,
Yeah.
more you?
Yeah, like a different track you could be on.
Exactly. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into exactly that idea. It's called timeline shifting. We're going to explore what it really means, not just as like some abstract idea, but looking at it from uh, spiritual angles and also grounded psychological perspectives.
hmm And we'll connect it to some really practical stuff too. Energy healing, listening to your intuition, and even, the common mistakes people make when they're trying to manifest big changes.
Right.
The goal here is really to give you a kind of shortcut, offering insights and maybe some things to reflect on for your own journey.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. What is timeline shifting?
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, you hear about this idea of like infinite possible lives, infinite timelines branching out from every choice. Sounds a bit sci-fi, maybe?
It can sound that way, definitely. But let's bring it down to earth a bit. Practically speaking, timeline shifting isn't really about, jumping between universes like in the movies. It's more about consciously, deliberately changing your internal state.
Your internal state, like thoughts and feelings.
Exactly. Your mindset, your energy, your actions. Changing those things to line up with a different reality within this life.
Mm.
Think of it like editing the script of your life. If you feel stuck in a loop,
Hmm.
you actually have this ability to sort of rewrite the next scene, to pivot. Psychologically, this is real work cognitive restructuring,
Mm.
building new neural pathways. It's not just wishful thinking.
I like that editing the script idea. And there's this other metaphor, the cosmic train station, right? Visualize yourself as a traveler there.
Mm.
Each platform leads to a different timeline. Platform 1 might be the same old routine, but Platform 5 could be, I don't know, living your purpose, finally feeling joy.
Or maybe platform 3 is healed relationships, or platform 7 is pursuing that dream you always put off.
Right. And the key thing is realizing all those trains, those platforms, are potentially available to you. They're there.
Yeah, absolutely. And the very first step, the critical thing, is awareness. Just recognizing which train you're currently on. What's the story you're living out right now?
Okay.
And then it's about empowering yourself, both psychologically and, well, spiritually, if that resonates, to actually challenge the beliefs and habits keeping you on that track.
All right.
Just knowing other possibilities exist is huge. It fuels change.
So awareness first.
Yeah.
Got it. But then how do you actually choose a different train? How do you switch tracks?
Okay, so the engine driving this shift, that's intention. Clear, focused intention. It's like putting a destination into your GPS. You have to decide where you want to go.
Okay. So the intention is like your train ticket.
Pretty much, yeah. It's your ticket for the train you want.
Mm-hmm.
But, and this is a big but, people often miss that ticket alone isn't enough.
Right.
You need alignment, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions.
Mm.
They all have to sort of vibrate at the frequency of that new reality you intend to create. Otherwise, the shift doesn't really stick.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's make this personal for you listening right now.
Yeah.
Is there an area of your life that feels off? Like it belongs to an older story you're kind of done with? And to try to picture it, if you were living that better reality, that preferred timeline, who would that version of you be? Really think about it. How do they think differently, act differently? What do they prioritize? Now let's shift gears slightly and talk about energy healing. Because this ties in directly, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's central, really.
We hear everything is energy. Our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, they all have a vibration. And sometimes it feels like heavy energy, old stuff can kind of chain you to a timeline you don't want anymore.
That's exactly it. Think about energy healing practices. Reiki, acupuncture, maybe breath work, emotional release techniques. What they do is help clear out and rebalance your internal energy field. Let's go back to the train station. Imagine trying to get on that super fast express train to your dream life.
Yeah.
But you're dragging like 10 giant suitcases full of old pain, limiting beliefs, maybe even trauma you haven't dealt with.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you wouldn't get far. Or it'd be exhausting.
Right. Energy healing is like setting down that heavy luggage. It dissolves those dense vibrations, that resistance, so you can actually move forward more freely. It lightens your load, literally.
And lots of people report feeling unstuck after doing some kind of deep inner work, right? Suddenly things start flowing, opportunities pop up, or they just find the strength to make different choices.
Exactly. That's a direct sign of an energetic shift manifesting in the physical world.
How does that work, though? How does clearing energy actually change what happens to you?
Well, think of timelines like radio stations. Each one broadcasts at a specific frequency. To experience a certain reality, your internal frequency needs to match that station. Old wounds, negative beliefs, resentments, they act like static. They keep your dial stuck on a lower frequency channel, maybe one playing a song you don't like.
Makes sense.
Energy healing helps you gently turn that dial. It raises your vibration, tunes you into a clearer channel, and when you're tuned in, aligned experiences, opportunities, synchronicities, they just start showing up more naturally.
So for you listening,
Yeah.
have you ever had that moment, maybe after a really good cry or a deep talk or some kind of release work, where you just suddenly felt lighter, like a weight was gone? That's the shift we're talking about. So take a second now. What energy are you carrying? Does it feel light, expansive, or kind of heavy and tight? Are there old stories, old hurts you might be holding on to? Just imagine maybe putting them down gently for a moment. See how that feels. Okay, so if energy healing helps clear the path, what guides us onto the right path? This brings us to intuition, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Intuition is your inner compass, your guide.
Like the voice on the train station loudspeaker telling you which platform to go to.
Exactly like that, a gentle, clear voice. Or sometimes it's more of a gut feeling, a whisper, a sudden knowing, like that feeling you should take that specific opportunity, even if it seems small. Or call that person out of the blue. Or maybe even say no to something that looks good on paper but just feels off.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Often, those are the nudges guiding you towards a new timeline, maybe leading you to meet someone important, or find a new direction, or even avoid a pitfall. And here's something interesting. Often the strongest intuitive hits feel the most illogical or inconvenient to our rational minds.
Why is that?
Because they're trying to steer you off your comfortable, familiar track onto a new one. The rational mind likes the known path.
Ah, okay. So trusting it is really the challenge, especially when logic argues against it. How do we get better at trusting that inner voice?
It really is a practice, like building a muscle. Every time you honor one of those whispers, even a small one, you strengthen that connection. Think of it like your internal GPS. It's processing way more data than your conscious mind is aware of, guiding you to the optimal conditions for your desired shift.
Okay.
And what often happens is, as you start to consciously shift timelines, as you align more with where you want to go, your intuition actually gets clearer, sharper.
Like less static on the line.
Exactly, less static. Decision-making starts to feel easier because you're more tuned in to that inner knowing.
So, back to the train station. Intuition is that gut feeling pulling you to platform 9 3/4 maybe?
Maybe. Or maybe it just tells you, don't get on this crowded train, wait for the next one, and then the next one turns out to be the express right where you wanted to go.
So a question for you listening. When was the last time you really listened to a gut feeling? Even if it seemed a bit weird, where did it lead?
And conversely, maybe reflect on a time you ignored that gut feeling and later thought, ugh, I knew I should have.
We've all been there.
We have. And it's not about blame. It's about recognizing this powerful tool you have available. It can be your best ally in shifting your reality.
So maybe try this. When you're facing a decision, just pause. Quiet your mind for a second. Maybe put a hand on your heart and just ask, what's my intuition telling me here? The more you practice listening, the louder and clearer it gets. Okay, now, let's talk about something really practical. The pitfalls, the mistakes.
Yes, very important.
Because timeline shifting, it's really a form of manifestation, right? You're actively creating something new. And like any skill, there are common ways we can mess it up.
You got it. Let's stick with our traveler at the station. Picture them, all excited, but maybe prone to a few unhelpful habits. First mistake, micromanaging the journey.
Okay, what does that look like?
Trying to control every single step. How it has to happen, when it has to happen, exactly who needs to be involved. It's like telling the train conductor exactly which streets to take.
Right, very rigid.
Super rigid. And that rigidity can actually block the universe, or whatever you want to call it, from bringing you what you want, maybe in an even better way you hadn't imagined. Define your what, the destination, and your why, but try to let go of the how. Psychologically, it often comes from needing control, which ironically creates resistance.
Okay, mistake number 1, micromanaging. What's next?
Mistake number 2, carrying old baggage onto the new train.
We touched on this with energy healing.
Exactly. It's trying to leap into this bright future without doing the inner work first, without healing those limiting beliefs, those old hurts, those resentments. You board the shiny new train, but you still got those 10 heavy suitcases we talked about.
And they'll just weigh you down or make you recreate the same old patterns eventually.
Precisely. External change rarely lasts without the internal shift. Your inner world dictates your outer experience.
Got it. Baggage check is essential. Mistake 3.
Number 3,
Doubting your ticket.
doubting your ticket. Yeah, basically giving up your power at the first little bump in the road, the first delay, the first challenge. Our traveler hits a small snag, maybe the train is 5 minutes late, and immediately thinks, see, I knew it was too good to be true. This isn't meant for me.
Oh, self-sabotage.
Totally. Mistaking a test of your resolve for a sign to quit. This often hooks into feeling unworthy or like an imposter. You have to believe you deserve the destination.
Okay, crucial point. Don't throw away your ticket at the first hurdle. What's number 4?
Number 4, being inconsistent or impatient. You need consistency. If our traveler keeps jumping off one train, trying another, then back again because things aren't happening right now.
They never really get anywhere?
Exactly. They never build momentum. You have to stick with your intention, trust the process is unfolding, even if it feels slow sometimes. Stop-start energy doesn't really work.
Patience and consistency.
Say.
Okay, and the last one, number 5.
Finally, mistake 5. Focusing on fear and lack. This is trying to shift timelines primarily out of desperation. Focusing all your energy on what you don't want, what you're escaping from.
Instead of what you're moving towards.
Precisely. If your main fuel is fear or lack, you risk just recreating similar situations because that's where your energetic focus is. It's scarcity versus abundance. You need to center on the hope, the excitement, the possibility of the new reality.
Wow. Okay, those 5 are pretty common, I imagine. Micromanaging, old baggage, doubting, inconsistency, focusing on fear. So if you're listening and maybe recognizing yourself in one or more of those, it's okay, right? Most of us do this stuff.
Absolutely. It's totally normal. The key is awareness. Once you see the pattern, you can change it.
So how do we course correct?
Well, for micromanaging, consciously practice letting go, trusting divine timing or the universe's flow. For the baggage, commit to that inner work. Journaling, therapy, energy healing, whatever resonates to actually process and release it.
Okay.
If doubt creeps in, use affirmations, visualize your success, actively build that belief muscle. Impatient. Ground yourself. Practice presence. Remind yourself to trust the journey's timing. And if you catch yourself focusing on fear, consciously pivot, choose hope, focus on what you do want to create, the positive vision. It really comes down to clarity, inner work, and trust.
That's really helpful. Okay, let's revisit our traveler one last time, putting it all together. So picture yourself again, standing there at the station. You feel that intuitive nudge, that pull towards a specific platform. You just know this train goes where your soul wants to go. Before you step on, you notice those heavy bags again. Past hurt, fear, self-doubt. Maybe this time you consciously decide, okay, I'm leaving these here.
That takes courage.
It does.
Yeah.
But you do it, and you feel lighter, freer.
Yeah.
You step onto the train.
Yeah.
There's excitement, maybe some nerves too, because it's new territory. The train starts moving.
And maybe there's that momentary flicker of, whoa, should I jump off? Go back to what's familiar?
Even good change can feel scary.
Right. But you take a deep breath, you choose to stay, you trust the process, and then, slowly at first, maybe subtly, the scenery outside the window starts to change. Your outer world begins to reflect your inner shift. New people show up. Old problems fade. Opportunities appear. Synchronicities happen. Life starts matching that new destination you chose internally.
It's a powerful image.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the main takeaway? For me, it's this reminder, the power to shift, to choose a different timeline. It's not some magic trick for gurus. It's available to you right now.
Exactly. It's not woo-woo. It's not magic in that sense. It's fundamentally about conscious choice. It's about intention. It's about recognizing the power you have to shape your reality.
You really do have more influence than you think. When you tend to your inner world, your energy, your thoughts, your beliefs, you are literally changing the tracks your life runs on. Change your energy, you change your timeline. It might not be instant, it might have bumps, but shifts will happen.
So maybe think about what you can actually do after listening to this. What's one small step? Perhaps just sit quietly later. Close your eyes. Try to really feel what that desired life feels like in your body.
Or maybe grab a journal. Write about that other version of you. What are they like? What intuitive nudges have you been getting lately? Jot them down.
Or identify just one piece of that old baggage, just one thing you feel ready to start letting go of. Maybe get some support with that, a friend, a therapist, a healer.
Yes. And maybe, most importantly, start affirming it. Tell yourself regularly with feeling, I deserve this new reality. I am capable of creating it. It's not too late.
So the final thought to leave you with is really a question. What version of you are you choosing today? right now.
Because every day, every moment really, is a chance to choose again.
And those choices stacked up over time. That's how you build a new timeline. That's how you build a new life.